everyone, it's Ben Hardy here, and this is a video for the second channel because this is not going to be particularly easy to film exterior shots, and this isn't particularly difficult off-roading, but I figured that some of you guys might like to see the TRD Pro do some obstacles, and as you can see, we're having to flex quite a bit on some of these trails. These are not trails that you could take a regular car down. I promise you that if you tried to take your 1999 Honda Civic down this trail, not only would you get stuck, but you would definitely puncture quite a few things. And so, yeah, hope you guys enjoy this little off-road POV. And obviously, since this is the second channel, this is not as polished of a product as what we, post on the main channel. Ooh, back end popped up a little bit there. This trail's, it's fun, to say the least. I probably don't even need to be in four-wheel drive, frankly, so I'm actually going to pop us back into two-wheel drive so we get better maneuverability. Our grip won't be as solid, but yeah, we've got beefy enough tires here on the TRD Pro that we don't need that. And worst case scenario, it's pretty easy to get into four-wheel drive, and so I can just pop it back in if I need. But if you guys are wondering, ooh, it's bumpy in the back, man. That's definitely leaf springs talking there. If you guys are wondering, this is the trail that I have to take to get to the crawling stuff for the review on the main channel. Well, actually, I shouldn't say have to take. I'm choosing to take this trail because I figure that this will give me more off-road time with the TRD Pro, so I can give you guys better impressions for the main channel video. But yeah, I'm noticing the back end, when I get to higher speeds, it gets quite bumpy, and that's kind of indicative of leaf springs. And that's one of the things in this mid-size truck segment that frustrates me, is that everyone still uses leaf springs. It's fine. Flex is fine, I noticed, with some of the flex maneuvering that I did, but it's just not great for higher speed stuff. And it's crazy because the shocks can handle it. I can tell that the shocks can handle it. It's just the back end bouncing all over the place. So maybe, to mitigate that, you'd have to go to pretty low PSI. These aren't beadlock wheels, so you could probably get down to don't take my word for this, but I'm guessing 20s, maybe even maybe high teens for the PSI. I'm high 20s right now, but I'm saying low 20s, high teens. And I don't think the tire would separate from the wheel. Again, don't take my word for that. But this trail's fun. I took my Raptor down this trail, and I can tell you guys, this is not a Raptor trail. It's fine from a damping perspective, but the problem with the Raptor on this trail is it's just so wide. Like you guys can see, I can somewhat maneuver around the trail here with the TRD Pro, but with the Raptor, I literally just you just plow through the whole trail, and there's no maneuvering, and so you just have to figure out going over everything, and you scrape into a bunch of trees all the time. Scrape against a bunch of trees all the time, rather. Yeah, this is actually better in two-wheel drive than four-wheel drive, frankly. Because in four-wheel, the Tacoma doesn't have it's an okay turning radius, but in four-wheel drive, it is horrible. It is absolutely horrible. They definitely are still using an old school four-wheel drive system with the Tacoma, because it is just not fun at all. Now these on the Raptor, you definitely can have fun with because of the suspension on that. But these Fox shocks actually do a really good job. Yeah, you guys can kind of see that. It's also that the tire's slipping a little bit. So it's kind of getting angry. I don't have, well, yeah, I've got traction control off, so it shouldn't be doing any braking. I'm wondering if it is though still. Yeah, that's my guess. I'm wondering if it's still the truck, because the tires are slipping out a little bit, if it's still doing some active braking, and that's why it's making it bump so much. So I guess in light of that, we're gonna pop it back into four-wheel drive so that, let's see if that changes it. Am I in four-wheel drive yet? Maybe I have to go into neutral quickly, roll back a second. Yeah, there we go. Sometimes it's a solid system, but sometimes you just gotta move a little bit to get the system to engage. Yeah, actually, part of it's the trail, because this trail's very rocky, but a big part of it's also just, yeah, those leaf springs a little bit, but it's not doing it nearly as bad. So yeah, it must still be doing some active braking. Nope, never mind, it's still doing it just as bad in four-wheel drive. So It's definitely leaf springs. At least we figured that out. So now that we figured that out, I'm going back into two-wheel drive because I don't need to be in. This is why this is second channel content, okay, folks? It's not super nice and polished. Oh man. It's fine when we're just coasting. When I'm trying to get up and move, it is so. The truck's fighting me a little bit. Ooh, don't want to go too fast over that. Got over 9 inches of ground clearance, which is great. It's crazy that, like, I was thinking about this today coming into this review, that we live in a world now where 9 inches of ground clearance is not considered a lot, even though it is a massive amount. I mean, back in the day, like Jeep Wranglers and Land Cruisers and stuff like that didn't have 9 inches of ground clearance, and those were considered like hardcore off-roaders. And now it's like, oh, 9 inches of ground clearance? Ah, that's an entry-level off-road vehicle. That is not even competing. Oh, it looks like we got some four-wheelers, so I'll be back to you guys in a second. Okay, so I don't know what they were doing. I guess they were just sitting there looking at rocks or something. But we are past them now. And I get funny looks because, you know, you can take cars down this trail, but most people that are going down this trail are going to be in like side-by-sides and four-wheelers because it's pretty narrow. And, you know, it's, again, you guys can see with the full-size vehicle, not full-size truck, full-size vehicle, it's not exactly the most comfortable. I imagine in like a side-by-side, so it'd actually be a pretty fun trail to go through. All the zippy corners and all that. I bet you could go pretty quick with that. But I imagine for those of you that, ooh, this is gonna be fun. Hey, we're getting some prime content here in the second channel. I gotta dodge that rock though. That is, ooh, yeah, a little bit too big for the TRD Pro. Okay. Oh, that's why we have skid plates. That's why we have skid plates. And you know, my favorite thing about this truck is that I'm pretty sure it's TFL that, I don't know who did it, but TFL had this truck and some other journalists have had this truck before me. It's only got 3,300 miles, so there's not that many people that have had it. That's maybe like 3, maybe 4 people before me, but probably 3 people before me, outlets, media outlets at least. And the reason why I say this is funny is that one of them like did tons of what do you call it, redneck pinstriping on the side of the truck. And well, long story short, I don't have to feel bad if I go against a tree because it's already this truck's already been used. And I have a feeling that I accidentally went down the wrong trail. So I might have to cut the POV and turn around and go back up, because this might not be, well, we'll just keep going through and figuring it out. This might not be where I'm supposed to go. And if you guys are wondering, this is stock, well, a little bit below stock PSI, so cold pressure is 30. I have a little bit under that at temperature. And the reason I did that is just to give myself a little bit of cushion, because I knew that I was going to be in some pretty bumpy roads today, but I didn't want to go too far below stock PSI because I wanted to be, you know, as close to stock as possible. I think this is the right place, because I remember squeezing through here with the Raptor and just feeling like horrible because I'm like, ah, scraping. But the point I was trying to make is I feel like those of you that live in pretty rural areas will like to see the Tacoma on these trails, because, you know, although this isn't insanely difficult from a technical perspective, you know, being able to, okay, that's where the cutoff is. So yeah, I'm going the right way. Being able to go through these trails and not get stuck or anything, I think is important. But there is some more exciting high-speed stuff here in a moment. And so I'm going to cut, and I guess we'll go up to that. Bringing the POV back because we got some steep hills and we're doing it in two-wheel drive. Like, these are not crazy, maybe like 13, 14, 15 degrees. Slipping a little bit, but like, it's so funny how, again, this just goes to show how good modern vehicles are. I might not make it up this in two-wheel drive. Yep, there's no way. Yeah, we're gonna get stuck. Okay. So we're gonna pop it. I don't have to pop it in neutral into four-wheel drive, but sometimes it's easier to get to lock instantly. roll back a little bit. So that's just a pro tip, roll back a little bit in neutral. Ah! Okay, there we go. Roll back a little bit in neutral and then it'll just lock. Yeah, there was no way that we are, that was annoying that the camera popped off, that we were gonna get up that in two-wheel drive. I think that one was like 20, I can't remember, 20 something degrees. Guess we're in four-wheel drive now. Now this is the floaty Raptor trail, but not full-size Raptor. This is more like the Ranger Raptor that's coming out. And a couple of my friends, when we went down this trail, were like, you know what? Ooh, this is pretty steep coming down. So this is exciting for our off-road POV for the second channel. They were like, you know what? We want to get the Ranger Raptor because of this trail. And I was like, you guys should, because that'd be a fun, like the Ranger Raptor on this would be so fun. Brakes are locking up a little bit because I'm not in manual mode. Okay, there we go. So that's how not to go down a hill, is in automatic mode. So then it's in third or fourth gear and it's all brakes. But you know, we're fine. Obviously, if that was, you know, muddy or something like that, then, you know, that could have been a bad situation, right? So it's where you want to definitely be aware of what you are doing. And I feel like I look like a much worse driver than I am through these POV videos, but it's like, you guys gotta understand, I'm, you know, focusing on the camera, making sure the camera's picking up everything, and then I'm also driving. So I'm doing two things at once, and so I can't just focus on driving. Like, there's a lot of things that, trails that I've done, that when I do them without the camera, I'm like, whoa, this was easy. And it was like, that was just because of the camera being on my head and, you know, having to focus on both things, that I couldn't do it as well. So this is the higher speed stuff. Huh. Yeah, it does a solid job with the damping. Again, I think I'm getting a lot of vibration just because of the tires being a little bit higher PSI. But aside from that, from a shock perspective, the damping is great. Yeah, coming down to that little like bump thing, solid job. And I might be lost, but you know what? We're just gonna keep trekking on. I keep saying I'm gonna be lost and then I'm not. If I remember right, the rest of this trail is not particularly, yeah, it's just slow stuff. So we're just gonna cap things off. I don't wanna show you guys anything else. I think that was more than enough off-roading, and I guess we'll go up onto this. Woo! Okay. So to cap things off here for our short little off-road POV, from a high-speed perspective, the shocks are, nope, not that one. The shocks are amazing, actually. Tires, I'd recommend definitely going lower PSI than what I have them set at. Obviously, I'm trying to just show you guys everything from the factory, but yeah, probably low 20s, I bet. Low 20s. Again, don't take my word for it. Just play with it if you own this truck. Try, you know, 25, and then if that's not smooth enough, then try 20. But I wouldn't go too far below that because, again, this doesn't have bead locks. And then, you know, maneuverability is great. I don't really, like on this type of trail, I didn't really feel like I needed more power than what this truck offers. And that's kind of funny thing about the Tacoma is on road, it just feels horribly slow. But, you know, in off-road circumstances, it's fine. Like, having just under 300 horsepower is more than enough, actually. So, yeah, there's kind of like the high-speed stuff, since the main video is mostly about crawling. And, ooh, look at this. Look at this that we get to go down. But, yeah, I'll see you guys.